Michael! Switch on! Don't switch on!
You've got two!
The should be high for the 8.
Go, boys, go! Go, boys, go! One is chance! Come on, Skin! You're smacking! Go! Make sure you don't both go! Go! Josh, back from the left! Come on! Ball out!
Get up!
6, 7.
Great save! Great save! Well done, Nathan! Drop Reese! Took round, Josh! Josh! Robert! Love it, Josh!
Do it early! Do it early!
Organise!
Josh! Your man coming late, Josh!
Good Joe, settle. Gamble here, Max, gamble here, Max. Tuck it in, Max, go on. Bitch! Phil, you can't get a free header in here. Hey, ref! Come on, lads, come on.
You up in the loft, you! Lando, you come off, you clown! Hey, again!
I'll say it for you. You get a regular.
Callum, you good! Callum, get Callum in!
Joe! Armin, keep the boys good. Give him a shout, come on. Let's keep them going. Talk! Fucking talk!
Get it.
Lads, what can't happen? In the back! Perfect! Second ball! Come on, come on, come on, get that!
Line.
Stand up, mate!
Good Joe. Launch it, Joe.
Recover, Tommy, King!
Come on, Joe. Down the walk, Joe.
Behind you, mate!
So Spennymoor Town with Alan Whitey. Nice to get bounced back from defeat on Saturday.
Yeah, it was important. We've been on a really good run of late, with some really good performances, some really good results away from home and at home. And then obviously to get beat down at Sutton on Saturday was a really disappointing result, really disappointing performance. And you can dwell on things, but the good thing for us was we had a game almost immediately on the Tuesday night here. And we've bounced back. Like I say, the first half wasn't a classic by any means. It was a very difficult game to sort of get into because it was a bit bobbly and a little bit hectic, and but we managed to get through to half time at 0-0. Wasn't really in favour of them or us really in the first half. It was a bit of a scrappy. We couldn't get playing. We were a little bit sloppy in possession. We made a few silly decisions that we discussed at half time, and in the second half we changed a little bit the mentality. I think the way we wanted to play and the way we were positioning ourselves, and sometimes if you just calm down a bit and take a little bit of energy out of it, sometimes you can run around too much, you know, and it gets a bit hectic and people get ahead of the ball. And in the second half we worked on just keeping your shape, keeping behind the ball, keeping it simple. Made a couple of changes towards after we'd got the goal. We made a couple of changes, and I think it really helped, you know, getting people on the ball who were just sometimes when you've been watching the game from the sideline, to come on you can have more of an influence. Sometimes when you're in the thick of it, it's difficult to work out what needs to be done, but from the sideline you can see, all right, yeah, and we can start saying, you see, what you should have done was blah blah blah. And I think the lads who came on did that. Mitch came on and he just helped it down the line. AJ came on and he kept possession. If it wasn't on, he'd come back out and start again. I thought Ramo was excellent second half in centre midfield. He gives that energy in centre midfield and balanced off, him and Chandler balanced off really well, not getting too close, not getting too far beyond the ball. And we looked a lot more of a threat in the second half and a lot more composed on the ball, and that's why we came out with a 2-0 win. But at half time it was very much a different story, where it was a bit hectic and a bit frustrating.
Not many games left now, so on to Saturday against Rushall. Another tough game, and need to move on as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're all tough games. It's you know, there's no real. I mean, there's no real bad teams in our league. You know, there's just teams who play differently, teams who've, you know, depending on the budget and this, that, and the other. But it's we tend to struggle against the teams down the bottom. You know, you look at Corby, you look at Sutton, you look at Grantham and teams like that, where Colville, I think, away from home we drew 3-3 and stuff like that. Whereas against the teams at the top, we've done quite well. We've had some good results.
Stafford 3-3.
Yeah, but it's that, and that's a mental thing. That's a mentality. But we've been working on that all season, where we've got to be ruthless and we've got to keep doing the same things and don't change it just because this team is a bit lower in the league. Don't think you can have an extra touch. Don't think you've got any more time on the ball. Don't think you can afford to overplay. You can't. You've got to keep doing the same things correct. You've got to still be tight. You've still got to still defend well. And we've done that on occasion, but we haven't done it all the time. Today was an example of that, where first half we were just a little bit off it. Second half it's like, right, do the basics properly, and we're back in the game. And I think if we do that in the remaining games, we'll be all right.
All right, Alan, thanks very much for your time. Cheers.
Sound, mate.